Good morning, everybody. Morning, morning. Everybody's looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. That's fantastic. Okay, we're almost there. There we go. Okay. Listen, good morning, everybody. Thrilled to see so many bright, smiley faces this morning. Before we get started, I have the honor of inviting up Elder Irene Morin, who's going to bless us and provide us with a prayer to start the proceedings.
He's taller than me. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, it sounds like you're in a classroom. Good morning, teacher. Welcome to Treaty 6 territory. I'm sure that everybody in this area is very happy that you have chosen Edmonton to have your meeting, because I think the last time, if I remember correctly, the last time they had a National Liberal caucus meeting in Edmonton was in 2000, because I was with the Senate at the time. I worked in Ottawa with Senator Thelma Shalito. But anyway, like I say, welcome, and I hope you have a very, very good few days here in Edmonton. And I have to say that I am honored to have been asked to come to do the opening prayer for you. And so if you will join me, I would like you all to join me in saying a prayer. And I would like to dedicate this prayer to all the people in the world, all the people who are suffering, people who are struggling, and especially I would like to offer this prayer to all of you, to the Prime Minister and his cabinet and his MPs, and that things work out well for all of you, because I know you are very, very hard workers. And like I said, we all need prayers, and we'll pray for your families and your friends. And please join me. I will say the prayer in my language, which is Cree. How no tawinan gisigisigok ahayan. Mitone miu hisagate o giwihuan. Mitone o tisipayo gitape hisagewan. Kaisen tohtagawian gisigisagok. Accessa minota was kitaskamik. Anos kagisagag mianan nepakwe saganemnan. Minatahtogi sagage. Kaki asinamawat kagi mai totagoyakik. Nistanan. Kasinamaunan kagi mai totamak. Bisiskeimnan ega tamatsamam tunay tamak. Eikate na maunan ka mayatak. Hamno tawinan, tasawematsik kakiota isinumak kahaptsik. Kinanaskumtanan kudak miugisagawe miyak. Kisagi hitanan. Ay hi. Ay hi in Cree means thank you. So you'll go away from here knowing at least one word in Cree. Ay hi.
Yes. Well, it's only fitting that I start by saying hi. Elder Morin, thank you very much. It brings great meaning to all of us that you're here with us today, and thank you for getting us started on the right foot. We're very, very grateful. As Elder Morin said she hopes we have a few good days in Edmonton. Well, we already have. Many of us arrived here on Sunday. We've been rolling in Monday. People are very enthused. We are thrilled to be in Edmonton, so happy to be in Alberta. When we chose this location for our caucus meeting, there was unanimous, unequivocal enthusiasm and support for making the journey out here. We have a big country. Alberta is a key part of it. Edmonton is an important city in this nation, and we're really, really thrilled to be here. We do have to get down to work, though. We have a lot of things to discuss. There's a lot of important issues we need to deal with. And I am going to start the proceedings formally with the privilege of welcoming and introducing the Right Honourable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada.
Thank you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, tout le monde. OK. Alors, il faut commencer. Merci beaucoup. Merci tout le monde. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, James. Thank you, Elder Morin. Hi, hi. Yeah, she reminds me, she thinks my RAM memory is better than that. I can take it from there to here. I'm going to come back because we have a relationship that goes back a bit. It's great to be in Edmonton. I'll come back to that in a second. But I'm going to get right down to business. I know this room didn't take the summer off, so it's not really back to school, but September always has that feel. And let's face it, we are in a crisis. We are in a crisis. The global trading system has been upended. Supply chains have been destroyed. McDavid is unsigned. This is not a transition. This is a rupture. As in times like these, you have to draw back in. Remember what you have. Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins. We got to draw on those strengths. We got to draw on those values. And Connor, if there's anything that we can do in the upcoming budget, we're spending less, we're going to invest more, so we can bring that cup back to Canada. Yeah. Very important. Look, this is the 9th time I've been in Alberta, 9th time I've been in Alberta this year. And back in January, I launched my leadership campaign at the rink where I learned to play hockey, a rink named after Canada's 7th Prime Minister, Sir Wilfrid Laurier. And Elder Irene was there to start the campaign off in a good way. And so she's starting our fall session off in the right way. Thank you again, Irene, for your best wishes. You know, you come back home, we all go back home when we can, even if it's mentally, virtually, to draw on the values and the friendships that you have. And Edmonton is where I learned the values that this group is putting together, values of hard work, solidarity, humility, learning from our mistakes, always trying to be better. And as I said, I launched my leadership campaign back in January. And it was a time when the crisis was not as obvious. We thought McDavid was going to be re-signed quickly. We would already have the cup by now. But the crisis facing our country, in all seriousness, was just coming into perspective, you think back at the start of January. And many didn't foresee the scale of the changes that would be required in response to this crisis. And these are changes that this government, you, are now delivering. So it is my great honor to return to Edmonton in the great company of 168 fellow Liberal MPs who are absolutely focused on the work ahead. Thank you for listening. And that work ahead is to protect our communities, to build big, and to empower Canadians. Empower Canadians with safer neighborhoods, stronger borders, better jobs, and brighter futures. You know, when I think about building big, I think about a former member of the Liberal caucus, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge, as others have this week, a national hero, a personal idol, whom we lost last week. Ken Dryden, 6-time Stanley Cup champion, 5-time Vezina Trophy winner, the only person, I say this with confidence, the only person who will ever win the Conn Smythe Trophy for most valuable player in the playoffs before they won the Calder Trophy, the Rookie of the Year. Dedicated public servant, including as Minister of Social Development in Paul Martin's government. An inspiration, Christia, I know, to you and others. Exactly. Yeah, sometimes it takes a little longer. You may not get to the other side of the mountainside, but you delivered childcare. You delivered childcare for Canadians. You know, few Canadians have given more or stood taller for our country, and he has a life that held many lessons for all of us. I remember as a kid when Ken took a year out at the peak of his playing career to go back to his studies, to go articling. Give you a sense of a bit of balance in the life. I mean, if you can call being a lawyer balance, but hey, diversity, you can. I know a lot of this room can call that balance. But he also included this observation, I remember hearing it before, that politics is like hockey. It doesn't build character, it reveals it. Okay. And the character of our government will be revealed by our focus and our delivery. Our focus and our delivery. We're all here to get big things done for Canadians at a scale and a pace that hasn't happened for generations. And that means, well, a lot has happened since January, since we saw each other at Laurier Heights. The change is only just beginning. The change is only just beginning. The spring session of Parliament was all about action. The swearing in of our cabinet was among the fastest following election ever. The beginning of the new Parliament was the most rapid in Canadian history. We did not waste time. On day one, our government canceled the consumer carbon tax because it was divisive. We brought down the price of gas for all Canadians. We cut taxes to reduce the cost of housing for first-time home buyers, immediately making the goal of home ownership a reality for more Canadians, especially young Canadians just starting out. Yeah. We cut taxes for the middle class. Thank you, Minister of Finance. We cut taxes for the middle class, delivering tax savings for 22 million Canadians. Now, because this room knows, because you know your constituents, you know that people have been hurting, you know that affordability has been a challenge. So delivering that savings up to $840 a year for a two-income family. Nous avons rédigé, déposé et adopté la loi visant à bâtir le Canada sur une seule économie canadienne. Cette loi élimine les barrières fédérales au commerce intérieur et libère le potentiel national du Canada pour bâtir grand, comme Ken Dryden. Bâtir des projets majeurs d'intérêt national qui connecteront et transformeront notre économie. Nous avons travaillé avec urgence et détermination dès notre première session. Et nous avons commencé comme nous comptons continuer. We started as we mean to go on. We passed that Building Canada Act with bipartisan support to unleash the potential of the combination of one Canadian economy and a series of transformative nation-building projects. We fulfilled our election promise. We eliminated all federal barriers to interprovincial trade by Canada Day. And over the summer, we opened the new Major Projects Office right here in Alberta to have a single point of contact to get those nation-building projects built faster by streamlining and accelerating regulatory approvals and by helping to coordinate financing. This summer, we also held 3 summits to engage First Nations, Inuit, and Métis leadership on their priorities and their opportunities for economic ownership and broader benefits from these generational transformation in the Canadian economy. We have to get that right. In recent weeks, we've launched historic initiatives and investments to protect workers in those sectors most affected by U.S. tariffs and to help our businesses build their competitiveness and diversify their products and their markets. We're providing billions of dollars of liquidity and capital, as well as targeted regulatory relief, so businesses have the time and the resources they need to seize new opportunities. And we're ensuring that hundreds of thousands of workers can get the skills that they'll need to participate in the new economy. Last week, we also launched the most comprehensive Buy Canadian program in our nation's history. We will be our own best customer, and in doing so, we'll create more jobs for our workers in steel, aluminum, auto, forest products, and beyond. Yeah. And when we combine this approach with our new defense and industrial strategies, we will help create entirely new Canadian industries, not just with tens of thousands of jobs, but hundreds of thousands of high-paying careers. Yeah. So, from day one, if I bring those together, we've relentlessly focused on our core mission, which is to empower Canadians by building Canada's economic strength. Now, we have to be clear, we have to continue to be clear with Canadians that this won't always be easy. What's happening, as I said earlier, in the global economy, partly in jest, but this is serious now, what's happening in the global economy is not a transition, it's a rupture. It is a major change in a fast period of time. The U.S. is fundamentally transforming all of its trading relationships, not just with Canada. The effect is profound. It's displacing workers. It's disrupting supply chains. It's causing immense uncertainty that's curbing investment and increasing unemployment. We're over the shock, but we should never forget the lessons. We have to look out for ourselves, and we have to take care of each other. Now, as I say, the impact of those tariffs, that economic uncertainty is slowing that business investment, it's increasing unemployment. Our response to this can't be slogans. It can't, and our horizon can't be short-term. We have to transform our economy from one that's reliant on a single trading partner, too reliant on that single trading partner, to one that's more resilient. One that's built for Canadian workers and their families on the strong foundation of Canadian industries and supported by new, diverse trading partners. That's how we're going to create greater certainty, greater security, greater prosperity for all Canadians. They are how we'll get those opportunities that help Canadians to get ahead. We're going to empower Canadians because nous sommes maîtres chez nous. Absolument. Alors que la Chambre reprend ses travaux, que de nouvelles pressions s'exercent sur notre calendrier et menacent de détourner notre attention, nous ne laisserons pas l'immédiat prendre le pas sur l'essentiel. You know, last May, we all agreed our government's core missions. Our focus now is to drive these 7 missions forward because they will keep Canadians safe and build Canada strong. And I'm going to spend a few moments going through those missions in a bit more detail. First and foremost, we're going to build that new relationship with the United States. But let's be clear where we're starting from. Canada now has the best deal of any country in the world with the United States. 85% of our trade is tariff-free. Our tariff level is the lowest of any U.S. trading partner. To preserve that advantage and build on it, we are beginning preparations for the upcoming review of our trade agreement with the U.S. and Mexico, CUSMA, and working to secure a new long-term agreement. But in parallel, we're diversifying our trade relationships. In June, we struck a new EU-Canada partnership, a new Canada-EU partnership that will deepen integration across trade, defense, energy, commerce. And the detailed work on the implementation of that agreement. Remember, it's not just about agreements, it is about focus, it's about implementation. The implementation of that agreement, seizing the opportunities, begins this month, following the upcoming announcement of our new special envoy. Last month, the Minister of National Defense, the Minister of Industry, I'm going to forget, the Minister of Natural Resources, and I were in Poland, Germany, Ukraine, Latvia. We're there for our allies, but we're also there to advance greater opportunities for shared prosperity and security, including in critical minerals, in energy, in defense, and in artificial intelligence. This fall, we'll bring this approach more broadly in a new trade diversification strategy. Thank you, Manny, for leading that. A new trade diversification strategy to strengthen our existing relationships and open new markets for Canadian businesses, particularly in Asia. It's our first mission. Our second mission is really to build that one Canadian economy, turbocharged by major nation-building projects that connect our regions, that diversify our products, that build new markets and create those hundreds of thousands of high-paying careers for our workers from the trades to technology. Tomorrow, we'll announce the first tranche, the first batch of these projects. Projects that will increase Canada's independence, boost our economy, align with the interests of Indigenous peoples, and advance our climate goals. Canada's new government recognizes that addressing climate change isn't just a moral duty that we have to our kids and grandkids. It is that moral duty. But it's also an economic imperative for the competitiveness of our businesses and the workers they employ. And so to those ends, this fall, we will release a new climate competitiveness strategy that focuses on results over objectives and investments over prohibitions. Third, we will remain relentlessly focused on bringing down costs for Canadians, building on the elimination of the consumer carbon tax, building on that middle-class tax cut. For example, during the summer, we took a decision to uphold the CRTC's plan to expand mandatory wholesale access. That's a mouthful. Mandatory wholesale access. What's in it for Canadians? One thing. It will reduce broadband costs for Canadian families. That's why this government took that decision, because we are relentlessly focused on Canadian affordability. Led by the Minister of Finance, Minister of Industry, we will keep finding ways to increase competition for the hard-earned dollars of Canadians in telecom, in banking, in retail, across our economy. You know, it's crucial to recognize as well that when we take tough decisions in our upcoming budget, our focus on reducing wasteful spending, duplication, we're doing that so we can protect the social programs that make life more affordable for Canadians, including childcare, health care, dental care, pharmacare. We have to make these decisions. And on affordability, our fourth priority is to make housing more affordable. Next week, Minister of Housing, we will launch Build Canada Homes to help double the pace of housing construction over the next decade. Build Canada Homes will address, first and foremost, the enormous needs of the most vulnerable in our society. Okay? Because that's what the government cares. But we won't stop there. We'll make housing more affordable for the middle class, for middle-class Canadians. And Build Canada Homes will create an entirely new Canadian housing industry using Canadian technology, Canadian workers, Canadian lumber. Yes. Yeah. And if that's not enough, it will build in ways that are lower cost and are more sustainable. Once families move in, their utility costs will be lower, as will the impact on our environment. In other words, we won't just build houses. We will build housing that's compassionate, that's competitive, that's climate friendly, and above all, That's Canadian. Yeah. Our fifth priority is to protect our sovereignty and our security. And over the summer, we advanced our plans to rearm, rebuild, and reinvest in the Canadian Armed Forces, including giving the women and men of the armed forces the largest pay raise in a generation. There you go. Sherry is, yeah, just getting started, Sherry. And we have begun to make, we are just getting started because we have begun to make historical investments to modernize our military. Investments that will get us to 2% of GDP's defense spending this year and 5% within the next decade. In doing so, though, we will ensure that our workers and businesses across Canada benefit from this huge increase in procurement, an increase that will require using Canadian steel, Canadian aluminum, Canadian critical minerals, and Canadian cyber and AI technologies. Alors. Cet automne, nous lancerons la nouvelle stratégie industrielle de défense du Canada. Notre pays dispose d'une immense capacité industrielle. Alors que le Canada et nos alliés de l'OTAN augmentent nos investissements en défense pour se préparer à un monde plus dangereux et plus divisé. Ce seront des Canadiens qui construiront les drones, les véhicules et les technologies aérospatiales dont le monde a besoin. Now, security begins at home. And that's why our government will be cracking down on illegal guns and gun trafficking. And why we will introduce immediately strong legislation. Well, we introduced immediately upon being in government in the spring, strong legislation to secure our border. And we challenge parties in Parliament to help us pass that. We're hiring 1,000 new RCMP personnel, 1,000 new Customs Border Services agents. This fall, we will propose legislation to make bail laws stricter for home invasions, for car thefts, for gang crime, shield Canadians from gun violence, and protect religious and community spaces from violence, intimidation, and hate. All Canadians must be able to get up, go to work, go to their church, temple, mosque, community center, and then come home and sleep soundly at night. And when our laws repeatedly fail to protect those basic rights, we need new laws. This fall, we will deliver those. Now, our sixth mission is to return Canada's immigration rates to sustainable levels while working to attract the very best talent in the world to help build our economy. And that includes bringing the total number of temporary workers and international students to less than 5% of Canada's population by the end of 2027, down from its peak of 7.25% last year. Now, it's clear that we have to work to continue to improve our overall immigration policies, and the temporary foreign worker program must have a focused approach that targets specific strategic sectors and needs in specific regions. So we're working on that, setting those goals, adjusting, and working to ease the strain on housing, public infrastructure, and our social services while we build that strong economy. We are welcoming, Canadians are a generous people. We're welcoming people to our country. We have to make sure we have the capacity to fulfill that welcome. Now, finally and critically, our government will spend less so that Canadians can invest more. In the election, we made a clear commitment to Canadians to bring a new fiscal discipline to the federal budget. These are tough times. We have to make tough choices for a better future. And the President of the Treasury Board is already showing how it can be done. He's just released the findings of our 60-day red tape review, identifying nearly 500 initiatives to streamline services, to cut duplication, reduce costs for Canadians and Canadian business. We're bringing, all of us are bringing the same rigor to the government's expenditure review, to streamline government operations, to be more efficient and effective, so we bring down costs for Canadians. So that fall budget will spend less, so Canadians can invest more in those initiatives that will catalyze the investment we need, unleash our country's economic potential to be the strongest in the G7. Nous ne pouvons pas contrôler ce que font les autres nations. Nous devons nous concentrer sur ce que nous pouvons contrôler, c'est-à-dire bâtir notre force économique ici, chez nous. Une nouvelle économie fondée sur les bases solides de nos industries canadiennes et appuyée par des partenaires commerciaux internationaux diversifiés. C'est ainsi que nous créerons plus de certitude, plus de sécurité et plus de prospérité pour les Canadiens et Canadiennes. C'est ainsi que nous créerons les occasions économiques qui permettront aux Canadiens d'avancer et de réussir. Now to finish, change of the magnitude that we're undertaking is never easy. It's going to take time, demands focus and determination. Also needs a united response, not seen in this country since the Second World War. It's never been more necessary for us as Canadians to put aside our differences and focus on the things that we can control. Set aside the negative, focus on the positive. Build big things together and empower each other. And while this moment has revealed that there are limits, and there are limits to our economic independence right now, those limits we have to tackle head on. What this moment has revealed, more importantly, is that the nation is more united, ambitious, innovative, hardworking, and ready to fight than any other on earth. The game revealed the strength of Ken Dryden's character. This crisis is revealing the character of our nation. This is Canada strong. Let's build it now. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.